Hi, I'm Ronnie Ciago, and welcome to the Ronnie Ciago Show. These are my guests, Stevie D and Chris Brady. So, Stevie, we haven't seen each other in a while. We met through Darryl Johnston, right?
That's right.
At Access.
Yep.
Daryl's a great guy, and they had, those of you who don't know, we had great drum pedals, double bass, titanium made. Daryl's a genius, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
He made it out from top of his head and just like, well,
I think, he was kind of the father of the direct drive pedal.
Yeah.
I think, I think all these other pedals kind of fell after the Axis, but yeah, Daryl's definitely an innovator, very creative guy, and yeah, that's how we hit. He would talk about you all the time. And you guys got to meet.
That was a great guy.
Yeah, great guy.
So, Stevie, give me some of your history, how you met, let's say, Roy Burns.
First time I met Roy I was in 8th grade, and I was playing at a jazz festival at the time in my junior high school band, and played the gig. And then my dad went up to Roy and introduced himself and said, hey, would you be interested in teaching my son to play, giving him lessons? And Roy asked my dad, well, does Steve read music? And my dad looked at me, did you read music? I said, no, it's all by ear at this point. So Roy told my dad, he said, I don't want to take your money. Go have him learn to read music and then come to me. And at the time, my dad thought it was amazing that, he wasn't just after taking the money, and he could have just said, yeah, sure, I'll take him on, whatever. So that left an impression. And then my dad would take me to see some Roy Burns clinics with Rogers and Heisty cymbals, and that left a huge impression on me. Fast forward, I was playing on a tour with Paul Anka. I started playing with Paul in '89, did that for 5 years.
And you were how old?
I was around 25. And I remember coming back from a gig, and I saw Roy on the plane. So it was back when you could, actually change your seat and sit next to an empty seat, and And so I said, are you Roy Burns? He said, yeah. So I met you a million years ago, whatever. We started chit-chatting. We had a conversation about the music business and about certain things. And he had a Modern Drummer every month.
The concept article.
The concept, yeah. And I guess he wrote an article about our conversation. And it was something to do with never judge somebody else's gig because you don't know what it is. Because I was kind of saying, I don't know, how I'm looked at, perceived by doing whatever. Certain people, my rock friends were like, what are you doing? My jazz friends were, what are you doing? They didn't understand that it was like probably the hardest gig of my life. 15-piece orchestra, 3 keyboard players, conductor. I learned so much from Paul. It was, I couldn't have gone to any school and learned what I learned. And a lot of the horn players in that band are the first call guys in LA. Wayne Bergeron, the trumpet player. Yeah. The Incredibles, that super high trumpet. Yeah. Michael Giacchino writes for Wayne. Wow. Andy Martin. So the players were heavy. I mean, it was the best situation. The conversation, anyway, Roy wrote about that in the book, or in the article. And then speaking of Daryl, a few years later, Daryl says, hey, do you want to come to the Pasek show with me? And I think it was in Ohio or something. I'm like, yeah, I'd love to go. So we went to that show, and Roy had the Aquarian booth. And it was the first time I even knew that he had drum heads and accessories.
Right.
What year was that around? That was probably, it was definitely early 90s.
In the early 90s.
And I think that they had the cymbal spring.
Right.
And they started delving into more of the drum head thing. Mm-hmm. But I went up to Roy in his booth and introduced myself. He says, where have you been? I've been, trying to get a hold of you. I wrote this article, blah, blah. So that it's just kind of this progression with Roy. I never ended up studying with him, but I went out of his books, of course. And then I've known Chris since like, 1985.
So how did you guys meet?
I think I was my college years. And he was already very well known, even amongst all us guys. We all went to Long Beach State. And he was already a legend to us because a lot of the players at school were gigging with him. And it was funny because even some of the instructors, when they would do their solo albums, a lot of times they wouldn't have us students do it. Like, who's playing on the album? Oh, Stevie D. So he was already well known. We hadn't really met yet, but we had so many mutual friends. And then one day he was playing at this club down in Newport Beach, Rumpelstiltskins?
Something like that.
It was like a police, not a tribute thing, but they did a lot of police material. And my friend Mark Morales and I went. Mark works at DW now. And we decided to go because I don't believe Mark had seen Steve play. We went, and I just remember watching him going, okay, I get it now. He was unbelievable. He knew all the parts. He was singing. He had the time, the feel. It was all there. And I just went, okay, maybe I should change my major, pick something else. So that's, and then we just started, because we all kind of knew the same people, we started to run into each other. And I don't know, we just started hanging out, and I'd go to see him play whenever I could. And I was always blown away. He's just, he's a musician. He can sing. He's an amazing drummer, but he can sing. He can play all kinds of instruments. He's got an amazing ear. So I've just been blown away for a long, long time. And that's how we met. This would, mid to late 80s, probably.
Yeah. He's no slouch.
I'm a tremendous slouch. What are you talking about?
So Stevie, Chris was talking about you doing the lead singing. So how did that come about? How did you start being like a lead singer? And I know, tell me a few of the bands that you sing with, big bands.
Well, I mean, I started off playing, we all did in bands and stuff. And so when I was a kid, actually, I had a band and I was the singer in it. So I was playing and singing, at least trying to sing.
Tell them, how old are you?
Oh, well, 10 years old.
Yeah. And wasn't your math teacher the guitar player?
Oh, yeah, so we had he was my fifth grade teacher, and he was a guitar player. And so I started singing at a young age, and I also did theater. I was kind of getting into the acting.
Oh, wow.
I almost kind of went that direction. But I broke my arm, so I couldn't be in this play that I got the lead in. And then by the time I got into high school, I go, it's not cool being in drama. And I didn't even really want to be in the band, but in order to play in the jazz band, I had to be in the marching band. He had been adopted since when he was a baby at birth. He finds out that David Crosby's his dad. But I was the new guy, thinking to myself, I'm going to be sent home in a week. You know what I mean? In my own mind, I'm like,
But David Gilmour.
there was no audition. It was hey, do you want to come and play? Okay.
You're watching the Ronnie Ciago Show, and we'll be right back.
Is your business lost in the desert? Tired of dull billboards? Want your business to shine? Visit amgbillboards.com. Take your advertising to the next level. amgbillboards.com.
I think it actually benefited me getting work, because I did work with like Crosby, Stills, and Nash, even though those guys were the main three part. But David Crosby, I got the gig with him in 97.
How did that happen?
It's just kind of luck.
This guy knew that guy.
Yeah, so I was going to Orange Coast College out of high school. I think I was still in high school. I was playing in the jazz band there. And one of the horn players said, there's this big band happening out in Cucamonga, Chaffey College. Chaffey College, where's that? So I woke up one morning, I remember, there's auditions at that school. There was no GPS or anything. I found my way out to this college, set up my drums. I wasn't even enrolled in the school. And apparently there was this great big band director. Anyway, I just remember this kid walking in, sits at the piano, looks at me, and we start jamming on Yellow Jackets. And it turned out to be James Raymond.
Oh, okay.
Now, James Raymond, he was from San Bernardino, out at Rialto. We became fast friends.
Wow. Good.
He had been adopted since when he was a baby at birth. Well, fast forward 12 years, he finds out that David Crosby is his dad. So he
he didn't even know that.
no, we went on this
Wow.
trip and then we got back and he called me. He goes, I'm engaged. And oh, by the way, I found out who my biological parents are. My mom's from Perth, Australia. My dad's David Crosby.
Oh.
So they got together after his liver transplant stuff. David's successful.
Yeah.
And they started writing. And James went to David and, he's like, I'm a musician, all this stuff. And David's like, yeah, great, But James was a real great musician, writer. They put a band together called CPR, which is Crosby, Pevar, Jeff Pevar, and James Raymond, CPR. And they made an album, and they had the whole album cut. They had Russ Kunkel on it, they had Kurt Pescara, they had Michael Bland. All these heavyweight drummers were on there. And there were 2 songs left on the album that they didn't have yet. And one of them, they either tried it, it was like kind of that Steely Dan kind of feel. And James kind of, in passing to David, said, my buddy could probably play this tune. So David was like, well, who is it? And so I met him, and they booked this session at Groove Masters, which is Jackson Brown's studio at Santa Monica. And I brought my drums down there and set up. And we just ran the tune like twice. And David comes out and goes, we got the take. We got it.
Wow.
And that became the single. It was called Morrison. It was on their first album.
And I've seen that movie, and wasn't like that. He was mad and lonely, blind as way back to the bridge and the falling trees, too deaf to hear his own song.
So we went and got some lunch, and I remember they had one more tune called At the Edge, and it's about David. It was a really heavy song, if you ever hear it. It's David's talking about his life and dying and being on the edge, how do you treat your friends, all these things. It's a really heavy song. And James kind of said, why don't we try that one? So we gave it a couple go-arounds. It wasn't really happening. And then we kind of made an adjustment, and we just played it down, and it was the take.
That was it.
Like a lighthouse before you at the edge of the sea, the woman whose grip holds when you slip, but the darkness won't get you, your family won't go, they'll make your heart light where you know what is right, and you go where you know you should go.
Yeah, so that's how I kind of got involved with that whole thing. And then David was like, you have to be in the band.
Oh, wow.
Which says we hit it off, it's like, and also it was something new for him, and I was friends with James, and it's like kind of a perfect fit.
He's just coming alive again because he almost died. Right?
Yeah, oh gosh, yeah. He had a renaissance his last 10 years of his life.
Right.
Yeah, and then so from there, I played with that band for several years, and then 2005 came, and Crosby Nash, they had made a bunch of records. They wanted to do another tour, and James called me and said, hey, they want you and Andrew Ford, and we're going to get Dean Parks. So we went to Europe, and we did that tour, and that's how I worked with Graham. And then I was singing a lot on that because it was. Now we're singing the 3-part. Steven Stills wasn't there, so I'm singing Steven's parts. The voices helped me in the past.
For sure.
And also just being around a lot of these great artists, I've learned so much. Like Kenny Loggins, one of the greatest singers. I worked with him for 5 years. And just all these little tricks that he would do, and really great ear, and like it's like, you really had to nail your parts. And also it's funny because the Crosby Nash stuff and the Crosby stuff, I was always given these crazy high parts. Like James, could you sing this one? Because they'd stack these vocals, and I'm like, okay, and I'd have to pick. But boy, did that help me.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's a challenge. It was out of my comfort zone, and I'd have to. And also as a drummer, one thing is interesting. A lot of musicians don't realize is like if you're a keyboard player and you're playing a chord, your note's probably going to be in the chord, right? Or a guitar player, you play the chord, it's in your chord.
Yeah,
Drums, you're picking it out of thin air. So you learn where your muscles are in your throat, where the pitch is.
Where the tone
So you
is,
hear it, but then you got to translate it. What does it feel like? So those are the stuff that I kind of developed over time, and I think it benefited in a lot of ways. So I always tell younger musicians, or aspiring musicians, I'm a great violinist, and I want to play in these groups. Like, what do you suggest I do? Maybe get the gig, because there's all these other great violinists, whatever. Learn how to sing, maybe learn a percussion instrument, and play a keyboard. Because if, let's say, Rod Stewart's looking for somebody and there's 20 applicants, out of those 20, maybe 5 of them have other skills.
Yeah.
And out of those 5, maybe 2 have those other skills. And maybe out of those 2, one gets down to one person that we really need that keyboard part covered. And you can shake a tambourine great, and you're great, and you look good. It's like, so anything you can add to your vocabulary and bring to a gig, it's always good.
It's great information for
you're a multi-percussionist and drummer, so
Yeah, I knew that when I was going in, I needed to be able to do all that, and sing and
play
drums, sing,
right?
Percussion. Well, how do you play tabla? Study with tabla players and all that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I really wanted to dig into really learning all that stuff. Wow. Through all that, you met David Gilmour, right?
Yeah.
Was that through the Crosby, Stills Nash?
Well, it kind of was. So that 2005, and there was other stuff before that. It was Loggins Messina. I played with them for their reunion tour, and Joe Walsh.
These are all the people that I wanted to play with.
Nah.
But I ended up being all this fusion guy and doing all this stuff.
Well,
and we even joked about it and said, Stevie, you take the Brandeis, I'll take the Crosby, Stills Nash gig.
Right. Well, that's a whole nother league. You guys are doing that music. It's a different thing. But we were over on that European tour in 2005, and David Gilmour was in the audience.
What were you with then?
Crosby, Nash.
Okay.
Don't you want that?
Our bass player and our drummer, I've been playing with now for, I guess, 8 or 9 years, and I hope to get to play with them for the rest of my life. They're wonderful. Our drummer is the astonishing Mr. Stephen DiStanislao, Stevie D.
And it was at Albert Hall, isn't it?
No, that was the festival hall, which was on the other side of the Thames. Okay. I remember that vividly because I had a kit made, and I was over there, and I was using that for the Crosby Nash thing. And I just remember getting a fresh batch of heads, brand new Aquarian Heads. And I hadn't changed. There was something like, I'm changing out the heads. We're in London tonight. And the stars aligned, and I tuned that kid up, and we played that show. And so David was there, and he asked that Crosby, David and Graham, would you sing on our album? And I'm stealing your drum. I mean, at that point, it's so far, it's like beyond your control. I just happen to, you know what I mean? It could be luck. It's also, I think, opportunity presents itself when you show up. Yeah. It could have been a lousy show for all, you know what I mean? We could have had a bad night. He would have been
stars were aligned.
Stars were aligned. So that's how I got involved in that. It was cool too, because when I went over to David's gig, and especially when we went to the Albert Hall, David and Graham, since I was in their band, I felt really comfortable. Like, oh, hey, my guys are here. I'm like kind of safe.
Remember when you were young? You shone like the sun. Shine on, you crazy.
So it worked out.
And that's the way it usually is when you get in the gig. You don't audition. They know if they want to have you or not.
I think so.
There's no audition.
Yeah, I've only gotten like maybe 2 gigs on auditions my whole career.
Me too. All the best, all the people that I grew up listening to, I ended up playing with them. There was no audition. They just saw me or came through this guy or that guy.
Right.
It's your reputation. Yeah.
Reputation.
I was the new guy. I was like, I'm thrown over there and thinking to myself, I'm going to be sent home in a week. You know what I mean? In my own mind, I'm like,
But David Gilmour.
there was no audition. It was hey, do you want to come and play? Okay.
Stevie DiStanislao, who's a lovely American drummer who also has a great voice and he sings on some things. He did them on an island tour with me 9 years ago. He's just a really good drummer, and it's very, very important to have a really good drummer, and he's very sensitive to everything that we do.
DiStanislao. Who I saw when Polly and I went to see Crosby and Nash last year at the festival hall, and we just thought he was too good not to nick.
You're watching the Ronnie Ciago Show, and we'll be right back.
Generations of rock.
How have I known you for 30 years and never gotten a single free wah-wah pedal out of you?
Hello, I'm Robert Sarzo.
Mongo Jerry.
Carl D'Amico.
Deep within! Firing all cylinders.
New Mavericks.
Jason Zebo from the band Whitewater.
Ronnie Ciago. Keith Lynch.
Derek Doc Murdoch.
Larry Antonino.
I'm Stevie D.
Chris Brady.
Bjorn Anglin.
Mike Encino from Soul Sign.
We are Where Lies and you are watching
Rockefellas TV.
Turn it up.
Welcome to the Ronnie Ciago Show. So, Mr. Chris Brady.
Yes, Ronnie.
How did you get with Aquarian? How did this happen? How did this all happen?
Again, it's just like he said, some of it's luck. I just was playing gigs, and nothing major, just playing bars and weddings and working part-time here and there. But I just got married and I had a daughter on the way. And I thought to myself, I need something steady. And I was not too young, but not too old, maybe 30. I've got to do something. Anyway, I just looked locally. I go, who are the local percussion drum companies in the area? I just sent out resumes. And like he said, some of it's just fortuitous timing. And I sent one to Aquarian, and for whatever reason, Roy kept the resume. And I literally, it was 2 weeks after sending that resume, he called me and he goes, hi, is this Chris Brady? I go, yes. This is Roy Burns. And, at that point, I'm like, what? I never expected a call. And he says, we might have a place for you. Come on in and interview. And lucky enough, I guess they like me. I've been there, I think this is my 28th year. And everybody at that company's been there a long time, but he liked what I had to say, and his partner, Ron, I interviewed with them. I was so nervous. But a couple of weeks after that interview, they go, yeah, we do have a place for you. The job's yours if you want it. And I was like, yes, okay. And it just...
So you're mainly a rep. You
well,
find people-
we're a small company, so everybody there wears a lot of hats.
Yes.
We don't. There's no specialist. You know, maybe at another company, the artist relations guy would strictly be artist relations, and that's it.
So, if
but I work with.
If you don't do just that, what else do you do?
I work with the international companies.
Okay.
Our European distributors.
Yeah.
I work with, you know, the chain, the big box companies like Guitar Center, Musician's Friend, Sweetwater. I interface with them a lot. I'm involved in the marketing sometimes. You know, like the logo. I designed that logo. So you do it. There's sometimes I'm out in the shop packing an order or pulling heads if a guy's coming in. And I'm happy to do it. I knew early on, you know, because at other companies, you just might say, well, you hired me for this, and that's all I'm going to do. And if you make me do this, I'm going to go see HR. I knew early on, I want to learn as much as I can. And if they give me a task, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to expand what I can do, like what Steve did. I'm going to sing, and I'm going to play drums, and I'm going to learn other instruments. The more you, like you, the percussion, the more that you can do, the more valuable you are, as opposed to, I only do this, this is all I know.
And I only play rock music.
Yeah, I only do this. So yeah, we wear a lot of different hats there. I do a lot of different things.
Yeah, so what about the other artists that I mean, there's so many.
We've got tons. You know, we've got great guys in the country genre, in the jazz genre, some younger guys. We just brought aboard this fine musician, Obed Calvert, and he plays with the Winton Big Band Jazz Band, Lincoln Center Jazz Band. He's amazing. Damian Reed is a young guy, and he plays with Robert Glasper. There's some phenomenal jazz musicians. We've got some new guys we brought in the proggy rock scene. So John Hoffman just did the Primus Interstellar Drum Derby. And there was like 5,000 submissions, video for that gig. And he got it out of everybody. And he just came aboard. One of our younger guys, I think he's, I don't know for sure, maybe 23, 24. Anyway, he just landed the Lady Gaga gig. And he's been, he was doing great gigs. Machine Gun Kelly and things in that genre. But he landed this Lady Gaga thing, and he's just going full steam with that. And brought another young guy aboard, Sam Groveman. Right now he's does primarily social media. He gigs a lot too, but he's known for his social media videos. He does these really cool things. Yeah, and then we've got fusion guys and amazing musicians like Stevie over here. So we have a pretty wide breadth of artists covering all kinds of different music and genres. It makes it fun.
Myself and Stevie were both honored to be with Aquarian and being friends as well as artists with the
That's the fun part of the job is
we're kind of friends first, and and we're doing that too. You know.
What's your experience with the Heads? Like, what do you like about the Heads?
Well, you know, I'm kind of new at it, so I'm just trying to figure out what's working for me. Because I play so many different genres of music.
Sure.
Some work for this genre, and some.
That's right.
I'm still finding it.
He's feeling his way a little. Jimmy Ford brought him in a few months ago. He's really new. Yeah.
Jim Ford, yes, right. You know, Andrew Ford, I've known for.
He's a bass
I've known
player.
Andrew Ford for 35 years.
Yeah.
We used to play in a church together.
Right.
Before I'd even know who I know he was Al Jarreau or somebody. And then he was just playing at the church with me.
Really?
And it was only it was me, him, a sax player and a keyboard player, and that was it.
That's great.
And that's how I met Andrew. I've known Andrew forever. He's bringing his family, his wife, and his kids. Now they're all grown up. But. Now tell us how to get a hold of you, and
First of all, thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
I know we had a good time, and
Yes,
I can speak for Steve. We had a lot of fun. Aquarian Drumheads, www.aquariandrumheads.com. So you can always go there. You can find us on Sweetwater, Guitar Center, Musician's Friend, a lot of local music stores. You can find us there. Some of the premier drum shops, Drum Center of Portsmouth, of course, Pro Drum Shop, Drum Factory Direct, Steve Weiss, Forks Drum Closet. We're all over the country. So you can always just go on the interwebs and type in Aquarian and you'll find us.
And the aquarium site is great. Did you had something to do with that, putting that together? Because
I did a little bit.
You see videos of guys playing. And
yeah, those
testing
videos,
heads and all
like that Eric Moore video we did. I think that went super viral. Most people, drummers, have probably seen it, but if you haven't, go to our YouTube channel and look up Get Your Eric Moore On. I think that's pushing 6 million views. There's not too many drum videos that get 6 million views, so that's one worth checking out.
Now, Stevie.
Yes.
How do we get a hold of you? What's next? Tell us what's new.
Mostly recording and producing these days, which has been a lot of fun. Different artists, been writing a lot and doing drum tracks for people. You can get a hold of me through my website, which is www.stevedistanislao.com. That's how you can get a hold of me.
Okay. Cool.
And I have a studio, and I'm doing all kind of tracks for people.
And it's your studio where you record or have people come and record with you.
That's right.
Where is that?
Yeah. So mainly drums, and then I bring in other clients for guitar, vocals, or whatnot.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's here in California.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
An undisclosed location.
Okay. Okay.
I know where it is.
He knows where it is.
Thank you guys for coming in, being my guest. I really appreciate it. Love you guys. Thank you for watching Ronnie Ciago's show, and I'll see you next week.